Welcome back, guys, to another video. In this week's video, I'm going to be talking about something that I feel like that's been in limbo for the last 3 years, and it almost feels surreal that I actually got to watch it. I'm going to be talking about the Angry Video Game Nerd movie. Now, I'm going to tell you some of the things I liked about it, some of the things I didn't like about it. I'm going to leave it very spoiler-free because I do want you guys, I encourage everyone to give it a chance and give it a watch. Especially if you're watching this video, there's a chance that you probably know who James Rolfe and his character, the Angry Video Game Nerd. I mean, he's by far one of the most popular YouTube personalities and kind of started this whole video game community, like it or hate it. Before he came around, no one was really doing this kind of stuff, and it kind of metamorphed into all this different stuff. I mean, he pretty much is the pioneer. He's like the Black Sabbath of YouTube. So, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and talk to you guys a little bit about this movie. Now, the beginning of the movie starts off with the classic video game nerd flair of him reviewing and filming videos for YouTube. And it kind of shows a fictional backstory to the nerd's life, and I thought that was kind of cool. It shows that, you know, he works in a video game store, and he's constantly surrounded by admirers and fans. And one of the things that the movie starts off with was the fact that the gaming companies kind of take wind of the Angry Video Game Nerd and notice that he's reviewing games that are horrible. So what do they decide to do? They decide they want to make a game that's horrible, and they want him to review it and make more money. So they have like their own devious plan of having a female come in and kind of have that classic nerd before birds kind of mentality to it. And there's one game that the nerd has been avoiding for years. It's almost been a plague. It's almost a phobia of his, and that is E.T. for the Atari 2600. Now, the gaming company knows this. They know the fans want this review, so they decide to make a sequel to E.T., and they want him to review it. And that's kind of where the movie starts off. And then you start to kind of find out that E.T., there's more to it than just being a bad game. There's more to it than the myth and the urban legend of it being buried in the deserts, which we actually found out months later is actually true. There was actually Atari games buried, which I thought that was really funny. But we find out that the reason why they were buried was not just because they were horrible games, but because there was a conspiracy with military weaponry. And with that being said, then you get the military in there, and the military is kind of that stereotypical slapstick badassery of older movies. I mean, you got the bad guy, the head of the military, and he's in a tank wheelchair. It's so over the top. This movie is just over the top funny. And when it got to that point, that's where the movie kind of drug on a little bit. That's one of the things that I kind of noticed, is that it started off very, very funny, almost like a Pee-wee's Big Adventure kind of feeling with James, the nerd, and then it goes into where it's trying to almost over-explain the plot. I guess to some people that aren't fans of the nerd, that kind of understand a little bit more where he's coming from and understand the urban legend of the E.T. Atari 2600 game. I felt like they could have shaved off just a couple of minutes of that and it would have been fine. It would have been okay. But it goes from that, has a classic car chase scene where they even mentions, like, why are we hitting so many boxes? And then there's a random guy with a sheet of glass moving by, and it's kind of a homage to those classic car chase scenes, and also Back from the Future on the NES. There's a lot of pop culture references to 80s and early 90s pop culture, and that's really, really nice that you'll watch and you're like, oh, I know why they did this. And also a lot of references to the actual nerd videos. So if you're a longtime fan, you'll see a lot of love letter references to yourself, you know. And so it goes from the military, goes from the conspiracy, and then it turns into a monster movie, complete with old school effects. I'm talking about toy trucks and, you know, giant suits, and it felt like I was watching a Toho movie, and it all made sense because you start to realize just from the first 5 minutes of this movie that this is a movie made with passion from a fan that wants to reflect on the things that he loves. And it's almost like energy, giving it back to his fans. And I thought it was a very good movie. The production value was amazing. There was a couple times I was just watching it, and I was like, I'm watching a movie. You know, I'm not just watching an independent film. I am watching a movie. And I know some people have complained about the corniness of it, but that has the charm. That is what Angry Video Game Nerd is. It's corny. You watch his videos, he gets in a fight with Bugs Bunny during a Looney Tunes review. So I mean, it all makes sense, and I'm waiting for it to come on DVD or Blu-ray, because honestly, I could say this is one of those movies that it's a feel-good movie. It's a movie I could see myself watching when I'm down and out, I'm not really feeling too well, and I can take it down and watch it and forget. And that is the magic of filmmaking. I put it right up there with one of my favorite feel-good movies, This Is Spinal Tap. That's a movie I can watch day in and day out, and I'm always in a good mood. And that's definitely one of those movies. Also, the Happy Console Gamer movie is definitely one of those movies as well. It's just, there's that chance that you see those movies that are made by someone that's passionate, and it really reflects. So it didn't feel like it was a money grab. It didn't feel like someone was, milking fame. It looked like someone was making a movie they really enjoyed, and I really hope we see more movies by James Rolfe. I'm not just talking about a sequel to Angry Video Game Nerd. I'm talking about actual more movies, because I really like his sense of direction and his writing and his ideas. I really enjoy it. And the more I watched it, the more I was kind of feeling that this is a time for the nerd to kind of retire. I know some people are like, no, but I feel like this is kind of like a good closing note on that character, and James can kind of work on other things that you can tell that he really wants to do. He's kind of in that stigma, he's kind of like the nerd being hounded to do this certain thing that it was almost like a foreshadowing of his life when I was watching that, and I thought it was very interesting. But was it a good movie? Yes, it was. I highly recommend you guys watch this movie. If you can watch it in theaters with some friends, go ahead. If you can purchase it online, I think it's a rental fee of like $10. Do it. I mean, it's definitely a good movie, and James definitely deserves all the recognition that he got with this. So, what are some of your thoughts of this, guys? If you've watched the movie, leave a comment below. Tell me what you thought. If you haven't seen it yet, tell me why. I'd really like to know. I like to have some sort of little discussion on this. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And as always, happy gaming.